Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is the messenger coming at you with another message. Sitting here with my boy Terrell Mayo. He know how to say no. But on a serious tip, you got something you want to say after I spit, man? Let me know. You know, in the midst of the worship, celebration, church, pastors chasing that bag called tithe, corporate worship, we getting lost in the shuffle. We're getting lost in the times we living in. You know, the BRIC nations, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They have joined together to make a whole different economy, and they're manipulating the currency. Africa's starting to deny the American dollar. Every last country that I named is ditching the American dollar. We are on the precipice of economic woe like never before. But our preachers are like sleeping dogs that won't bark. And they're not letting the people know because they don't know. And it's like a kettle, what you call a crock pot, that's boiling, and that little thing up there that's whistling is whistling. And nobody can hear the whistle. Christ said, watch. We are on the brink of many, many sorrows, but instead, we're just free worshiping. We're celebrating worship. We doctrine debating. And we are being rocked to sleep with the love of Jesus. I'm going to tell you something. Y'all need to watch and pay attention, because there is a such thing as spiritual preparation. And that's the most important thing. But for some of you who are economically wise, there is a such thing of economic preparation. But right now, we're asleep. Most everybody is asleep. And things are punished right now. You need to question your pastor. Where prophecy is being fulfilled right now. And it all ain't hunky-dory. Even Christ said, when you see these things, the end is not yet, but it's the beginning of many, many sorrows. So I tell y'all, man, check your pastor. Check him before he wreck you. Because we're at the time right now where America is in serious trouble. We just dodged a total meltdown with this debt ceiling. Folk wasn't about to get their food stamps, their Social Security. What you gonna call on God then? If you ain't calling on God now, you ain't gonna be able to call on him then. So we need to start calling on him now before the hardships start. So when the hardships start, we already in sync. But if you're in this vicious cycle of calling on God when you're in trouble, only when you need him most, man, we need to be in his face daily. We need nightly, but we need to be in his face so that when these things happen, we're not treating God like a dog when we get in trouble. Here, God, come on, I need you. But when everything's smooth, God ain't got nothing to do with it. This is where we are right now. We're in the brink of many, many sorrows. Get your worship on like never before. And I'm not talking about corporate worship. I'm not talking about public worship. 90% of Christ's worship was private. He didn't worship publicly. Whenever he went into the church, he went to put in work. Worship was over. Whenever he went to the people, he went healing. He went to put in work. Worship was over. But it's the opposite now. We worship like the Pharisees. 90% of the Pharisees' worship was public. Public worship means nothing. It's the private worship. It's where God will reward you openly. You got something to say, homie?
I just want to speak on private worship. When it comes to private worship will free you from addiction, addiction from drugs, addiction from money, alcohol, sex, whatever those vices that might be, um, that you think that might have you locked down uh, spiritually and mentally. The private worship is the access. It's the way to break loose, break free from the addictions that you might have, or the quirks that you might deal with. It might not be an addiction. It might be a quirk or something in your character or something in your spirit that doesn't set right with you. It's that private worship that you do by not letting your behavior stand in between you and God. Don't let your behavior stand in between you and God. Whatever you're dealing with, still come to Him. Come to Him as you are. Come to Him in prayer and submission, and acknowledge your faults and say, Lord, this is me. This is what I deal with. He is sitting there at the door waiting for you to come as you are, no matter what you're dealing with. He wants you to come as you are. He wants you to come. He's not waiting for you to clean up. He's not waiting for you to stop. He's not waiting for you to stop smoking weed or meth or coke or stop sleeping around. He wants you to come. He wants you to come. He wants you to start. My boy Ride Out put it on. He wants you to start. He wants you to stop stopping and start starting. Most of us try to say things like, oh, I'll come to you when I stop doing this, when I stop doing that. No, he wants you to come and start. He does not want you to stop. He wants you to come as you are and worship. Right. Seek His face. Read His word. Listen to His word. Listen to someone that He might bring in your path. All these things contribute to your success spiritually. All right. So I want to encourage everyone out there, right, whatever you're dealing with, please don't let your behavior be an obstacle between you and God. Don't let yourself be an obstacle between you and God. Don't let yourself judge yourself. I got friends that say, oh, I'm going to hell. No, listen, don't say that you're going to hell. Don't declare that you're going to hell. Let God judge you. Don't judge yourself. Give God the opportunity to judge you. Because I promise you, if you give God the opportunity to judge you, it will be a way more sweeter experience, and you will be saved if you let God judge you and not yourself. That's all I want to say, folks. God bless you.
You hear what he said? Don't ever try to stop. Just start. Private worship is way more important than public worship. We had a rude awakening when COVID came out. People couldn't go to church anymore, and they were relying on church so much, and they never had private worship. They felt they were left hanging. Your church is in your home. Your church is in your heart. Start that private thing. God got you, and always remember, I'm praying for you. Peace.